Hi, I'm Inga, the owner and acupuncturist at Wisdom Ways Acupuncture, here today to do the final element in my 5 Elements video series, the water element. It relates to the depths and darkness of winter, to the kidneys, and emotionally to fear, but conversely to courage and determination and the quality of being able to just gracefully go with the flow through the unknown. First, I'm going to discuss the traits of water itself as we see it in nature, and then relate those traits back to the qualities that we all have in ourselves. And I'll end with giving some tips on how you can nurture your own water element so that when you find yourselves in those mysterious times of unknown or depletion, you'll have tools to navigate through them with courage instead of paralyzing fear. So first, let's think about actual water and think about examples in nature. We've got our enormous oceans that we really only see the surface of, so most of it remains a huge mystery. At times, those oceans just rhythmically sway, but at others, they just turn into instant tsunamis that destroy everything in their path. We've got our quiet trickling streams, but then those powerful rivers that are so strong that they actually form the canyons and shape the earth in their relentless course to the sea, yet at the same time they effortlessly navigate their way around every obstacle, taking the path of least resistance. So these very paradoxical qualities of powerful relentlessness, yet continual yielding. Consider now all the different states of water, from solid to liquid to vapor. It just readily transforms from liquid into steam, into solid ice, into the clouds that we can see, and the humidity that we can't. And so in addition to those paradoxical qualities of power yet yielding, it also has this amazing transformative superpower, really. It just readily accommodates whatever form the environment calls for at the moment. In our bodies, water is the moisture that we can't see, but that forms a huge part of every one of our cells as well as those of plants. And so on top of those paradoxical and transformative qualities, there's this pervasive aspect of water where it forms a huge part of who we are and life itself, and yet it's not outwardly visible. Now, what about the season? In the winter, things go beneath the surface, appearing dead and lifeless. Life itself becomes invisible. We can't see all the deepening of roots that occurs underground. We don't see the containment of the plant's resources into its core. In fact, we don't even see the plant at all, since it's only going to surface again once we move out of the water element and back into spring with the wood element. So we're getting the sense that water is everywhere around us as life itself. It's the most fundamental part of what we are, and yet it morphs and changes and is greatly out of our control and often even invisible. I mentioned the emotion of water is fear. So the same energy that brings us determination to relentlessly carve our path through life, as well as being able to rest peacefully in the unknown times, can also consume us and drown us in fear when we're out of balance. We can become frozen with fear, not able to move or take any action at all in life. But when we have healthy water element, we can transform that fear into new focus and new growth, charting our next path in life without too much resistance and really trusting in the process without being drowned in the fear of it. The organ, as I mentioned, is the kidneys. And in Chinese medicine, we loosely compare kidney depletion to the concept of adrenal exhaustion. We all need to nurture our water so that we're like a plant in winter, shoring up our resources through being willing to slow down and replenish, to be in quiet and stillness like the winter time. So thinking about all these paradoxical, transformative, and deeply pervasive qualities of water, we can then talk about what water types tend to be like. They might not reveal a lot about themselves, and so it might not look like a lot is happening on the surface for water types, but the saying does hold true: still waters run deep. They're usually very introspective and resolute. Deep thinkers interested in the mysteries of life, like the great ocean, symbolically. Usually flexible, adaptable, go with the flow depending on the circumstances, yet they maintain their determination. If out of balance, though, they can be the most extremely fearful types. But when balanced, they might not struggle against life's unknowns as much as the rest of us might, but rather embrace that mystery with much more grace and ease than the rest of us. As humans, our greatest challenge usually is being steady in those times of unknown. But the more we can nurture our water element, the more we can gracefully face those times of mystery and maybe even hold a space of awe and trust in the process of life and transform as the water element does to meet those new needs. The problem is we don't value those times of introspection and replenishing in this culture. Instead, we put all of our focus on achieving and on goals, on drive and ambition, all of which are wood qualities, and wood draws on the water element. It draws on our resources for its growth and energy. We tend to feel like nothing is happening when we're in a water state, like it's a waste of time. But when we stay too long in that action doing state, then we end up never being in the being state, the replenishing state. And we can only fool ourselves for so long that we can keep going before realizing that time of renewal and replenishing are non-negotiable aspects of life. So how do you nurture your kidney to your water element? Basically by going against everything our culture encourages. And here, finally, are some tips for honoring your own water element. First, really simple, get more sleep. Go to bed earlier and rise later, especially in the darkest time of the year. Second, eat mildly warming foods. Mildly warming foods are like throwing big, slow burning logs on a fire. They're not going to burn up soon like kindling, whereas hot, spicy foods like hot peppers actually flame up real quickly and they disperse our heat to the surface, which in the end can drain your reserves and might actually cool you down. So we want that warm, replenishing energy drawn deep inside where it can be stored in the winter. 3, read books that nourish your spirit and create space for contemplations. For Christians, that might mean the Bible, or if you're drawn to more contemplative traditions, you might enjoy practices like contemplative prayer or Lectio Divina, spiritual reading, which people of any spiritual persuasion can enjoy. 4th, exercises like gentle or restorative yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong. Now, I always have to be very clear when I say yoga because immediately all my woody type A goal-oriented patients jump right into practices like hot yoga, core power, fitness yoga. There's nothing wrong with these practices, but they definitely use energy rather than restoring it, which just depletes your water element even more. So to nurture your water element, find restorative practices. Lastly, find an acupuncturist who works extensively with herbs because they're really one of the fastest ways I've seen to help you fill up your depletion. Acupuncture alone is also really beneficial for helping with stress, which means we're less likely draining our adrenals. Of course, there's so much more to say about the water element, but I hope this video has been useful in helping you to understand a little bit more about the mystery and greatness of this water element, which is the deepest part of each one of us. If you want to learn more about the water element, check out my blog at wisdomwaysacupuncture.com. And you can also learn more about all of the elements in general at my blog or by watching my other 5 elements videos on YouTube. Thanks for watching.